Hi, my name is Dave Roberts and I run the Wrongfully Convicted Association. This is another film. This one's about corrupt old Vern White. He's an Ottawa Chief of Police, and we want to tell you about his corruption and also about Jim Watson and the Police Services Board, how they're closing their eyes to the corruption of the Ottawa Police and a number of other people in there. But about Vern White, years ago, if you look at the website wrongfullyconvictedassociation.com, you'll see on the front page it says Introduction to Website, Meet Dave Roberts, and then there's the second one, Dave Roberts' Story Continued. If you watch that, it'll give you a little bit better idea of what I'm talking about. But on February 15th, 1995, years ago, I had some charges dropped, but on those charges, like from January 3rd, 1995, I had a condition not to be in the courthouse unless for a scheduled court appearance. On February 15th, I had court. The charges were dropped. I also, from January 3rd, had a condition not to go to Andrew Bersen's corrupt crown attorney that used to run the Ottawa office. But what happened is, in February 15th, I got beaten and tortured by some police at the the courthouse, and they said that I never had court that day. The next day I ended up in the 16th with the same judge, and the judge told them. But what happened is, they ended up, a couple months later I protested Crown Attorney Andrew Bersen's, and what happened is they charged me with breaking the condition again for the January 3rd charges, which I didn't have. Again, the judge, it came out later on with Peter Griffiths, another corrupt ex-Crown Attorney. He's now a judge in Ottawa, friends of Vern White, and states that he removed the charge. But I was found mentally insane at the time of the crime by a doctor by the name of John Bradford from the Royal Ottawa Hospital, which is friends with Andrew Bersen's, the Crown Attorney that I was complaining about fixing trials. So what happened is it came out in '96 that I was wrongfully convicted. And I was promised a criminal investigation and all this. Well, over the years I've been selling in the newspaper and everything else, but Vern White, I went and seen Vern White and I gave him copies. I gave him copies of February 15th, and when I filed the police complaint in '97, they come to the conclusion that I was found mentally insane at the time of the crime of breaking conditions. These two conditions. I was, but the thing is I never had these conditions. In 2000, cops got these 4 documents that I gave Vern White, and it states, and he makes a statement, what it was is the doctor saying I broke this condition. It was the Crown Attorney and the police officer that I filed a complaint off on '97. What happened was the police complaint, they found nothing wrong with it. They all said, oh, you were found insane at the time of the crime. So what happened is I gave these documents to Vern, and like I said, Anthony Constantini in 2000 wrote a statement stating that Dave's never broke these conditions, but he was given the copies of Dr. Bradford's false statement, Andrew Bersen's false statement, and the police's false statement. But he received the February 15th transfers, which shows they're all lying, and that there's a cover-up going here. So what I gave him to Vern, this is about in 2007, 2006, around there. And then what happened is I seen him in 2010, and I really put the pressure on him to do something, okay, really big time. So I had a blowhorn out there. 4 days I was out in front of the police station just giving it to him. And I called him out, like, man up, like a coward he is. So he came out, and I gave him again the copies of these documents showing the police. I told him about how they altered my criminal record to show that I had court now on February 15th, and also some phony drug charges that Peter Griffiths had put against me. And I told him to check it all out. So what he did is he said he was going to send it up to the professional standards, make an appointment for me to see professional standards. Also to see, he's going to send it up to the Ontario Civilian Board, the new one, for investigating police. So in his first letter to the board, the investigation unit, he turns around and he states that I'm sending the evidence up to you that Dave's given you. So it shows that he's given evidence. The second one was he wrote a letter after the police served, after I seen the professional standards, the Ottawa Police professional standards, which I gave him the Crown Attorney Andrew Berson's statement stating that the police made a mistake, the February 15th where the transcript showing I had court, the Peter Griffin state removing the charge of going near Andrew Berson's because it wasn't enforced. Also, all these other documents, the criminal record and everything else, just overwhelming evidence showing that the police, what went wrong. Also, the statement from the first police complaint stating that I was found mentally insane at the time of the crime, breaking all these conditions. But it shows that I never even had these. Judges were saying that everybody was saying. So what happened is Vern White wrote a letter after I talked to Professional Standards, the one person who runs it. There was two of them, and the Ottawa Police. And Vern White wrote another letter saying there was no new evidence to show that anything was wrong about the police complaint now. So Vern's lying right through his teeth. Like, it was ruled in '96 that I was wrongfully convicted and all this. And it came out, they were supposed to do an investigation then, and it was covered up. So what happened is, I ended up making an appointment. I filed a complaint against Vern White with them. And this happened in June 2010, where we got into it with the blowhorn and all this type of thing. So what happened is, when I sent all the evidence up, and here's the folder. And if you look at the film on the Wrongfully Convicted Association website, the front page.com, wrongfullyconvictedassociation.com website, you'll see me sitting there with the Police Services Board. And if you click on it, you'll see Vern's there and he's nodding. I'm talking about cops covering up, and I'm talking about Vern White. And you'll see me that near the end, I've given out this binder. And this has all that evidence on it and a lot more. So what happened is when we were there, we found we looked in the Police Services Board like sort of manual for that month. It was January, and in the back I seen the police complaint. Now the police complaint had sent it back and said that it would happen in 2009, June 2009, before they were formed, so they couldn't do anything about it. But what they did was they backdated it a year, and that's why they wouldn't investigate this. And the complaint was about Vern White, Truck Cop Vern White, the Chief of Police. So what happened was he turned around, and I went back in February to see Vern. And I showed Vern the thing. I said, "Oh, see how they covered up the complaint about you? They backdated it a year, so they wouldn't have to investigate." And Vern starts chuckling. Okay. Now, since I've given the Police Services Board this, there's been no contact. I've tried to make contact. They won't even now talk to me on the phone. Okay, and that's the way they are. Vern is just a lying cop. That's all he does. He covers up. He knows that the police complaint was wrong. He knows that the police lied, but he's just lying in his report by saying that there's no new evidence. Like, I've been selling this February 15th transcript, February 16th transcript in the newspaper, doing all kinds of things. But I'd like you to look at too is that on the front page of the wrongfullyconvictedassociation.com website is the February 15th transcript. If you click on it, you'll see a story with documentation, so you can click on and see all the documentations. Vern's covering up. He's corrupt. He's a piece of garbage. He looks real good, but he's supposed to be the next RCMP commissioner. He's on the short list for it. Okay, and this guy is supposed to be the man to clean up the police force. What this guy does is just cover up. And the crime that he's committed here, he sent over. There was police officers sent over to my place lately, and they've threatened me many times. They've threatened to shoot me and everything. And beatings all the time at the courthouse. But they sent over a cop 2 days before the police services board to try to harass me. Okay, if you look at W5 in April 7, 2011, they have a thing about the police and that, how the police across Canada are just walking all over these investigations like this and covering it up and all this. And you'll even see a story about how they intimidated the W5, tried to intimidate the W5 reporter. These guys are going after reporters, everything, okay? And they are they're corrupt. And they're getting away with it because people won't stand up. There's a lot of innocent people in jail because of these crooks, okay? Vern is a complete crook. And what we're trying to push for is to stick him in jail and to get the old Jim Watson thrown out, along with all the service boards, people on the service board. They were all given, and also Wendy, the police service board secretary. We would like to get some charges laid against Wendy, chief of police, and a bunch of other police officers. Now, but what we need you to do is to make some noise, and not, you don't have to be violent or anything like this. All we want you to do is to put up a simple sign on your lawn or in your window saying wrongfullyconvictedassociation.com. You know, see Ottawa police corruption. You know, or just a sign, wrongfullyconvictedassociation.com. And tell your friends, like Facebook it to your friends, these movies and all that, and let's get these guys. He's a corrupt cop, and that's what he is, and we're going to put it right to him. He deserves to be in jail, and that's where he's going. Thank you.